What's up, everybody? Awkward Anxious Jennifer here, even if that's not what the title of my channel is called anymore. But anyway, yes, it's still me. I'm here. I'm alive. I know it's been a really long time since I've posted. I've been busy with work and just life and whatever. It's been crazy. So anyway, I'm here. Still living in Texas, and let me show you one thing before I get real started. This is my dog Jules. Jules, hi, what you doing? I got her back in November, and I love her to death, and I'm teaching her how to talk using buttons, and I may or may not try to insert some footage of that in this video, because I have spent hours and hours this weekend planning for and trying to record this video, and I can use technology enough for my job, but beyond that, it's a struggle. So I was hoping to record myself and do some screen recording at the same time. I was having problems with that, so I think I'm just gonna film this intro and then do some screen recording with my voice over top if you want to stick with me. But anyway, as you can see in the title, I have recently come to discover that I very probably am on the autism spectrum. And also I think I probably have ADHD too, but I think this video is mostly going to be about the autism. So this is not the first time I've thought that I might be autistic, but this is the first time that there's really been enough information available for me to really think, oh yeah, this definitely sounds like me. So part of the problem is that most of what we know about autism is based on boys. And it turns out that girls, adults and girls, and especially women, display signs of autism really differently than boys tend to do. And so up until the last couple of years or so, there just hasn't been very much information available about autism in women. So I would read the symptoms, based on boys and go, that sounds a lot like me, but I just don't know. I had looked into getting tested a few years back, but the place where I lived at the time, there was only one person in the whole region who did autism testing in adults, and they were for the hospital system not covered by my insurance at the time. And it was going to cost something like $2,000 for me to get tested. And I didn't even have $200 at the time, much less $2,000. And as a side note, I have looked into getting tested down here, but I finally have insurance, and it's a really small company, but apparently most insurance companies don't cover autism testing anyway. But I looked into one place kind of near here, and it's going to be $2,500. So I'm probably not going to be getting an official diagnosis anytime soon, but if you watch this whole video, I don't know how long it's going to be, so I'm trying to put the interesting stuff up front. But I'm planning on doing some of these online autism tests, some of which I've done before, but I want to kind of go through them question by question with you all so you can learn. I want to talk about autism in general, but also as you see how I answer the questions, I think a lot of people are going to think, oh, you don't have autism. You're totally normal, or you're just looking for excuses for, being lazy or whatever. So I want to, go over some of the symptoms of autism in women and do some of the tests so that everybody can see, oh, that makes a lot of sense for Jennifer, for anybody who knows me really well. I don't know if I'm even making sense right now, but anyway, as far as my mental health, anybody who's new to my channel, I have bipolar disorder, and I was diagnosed with that 15 years ago, more or less. And I've talked a lot about my depression and whatnot on my channel. And at the moment, that's doing okay. I had been going through some depression over the last couple of months, starting to feel better, but especially now that I've been down deep into the rabbit hole of learning about autism and ADHD, and especially the autism corner of TikTok, and watching content from all these creators going, oh my god, that's me. That explains so much about me. And oh, I'm not just this lazy, worthless lump of a human being who can't accomplish things. My brain is different, called neurodivergent. You've got like quote unquote regular people are neurotypical, which means their brains are like the normal type of brain. And then people with autism, ADHD, and a few other things are said to be neurodivergent. And that explains me a lot. And I'm going to hopefully show some of the TikToks that made me go, wow, that makes a lot of sense for me. So anyway, that's my intro, and hopefully I can edit together this video with some screen capture with my voiceover of some of this other stuff I'm going to talk about. But anyway, hopefully I'm going to keep doing more videos, but you know me, it could be a week, it could be 6 months or a year before I get back to this. But anyway, that's my update. I hope you all are doing well, and if you don't stick around to watch the rest of this video, then be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and I'll see you in the next video, I guess. But stay tuned for more. All right. Okay, let's start with the 10 key signs of autism in women. Male and female autism share some similarities, but overall, women with autism tend to present differently than men. Symptoms that may present differently in women include social difficulties. Since my channel was originally called Awkward Anxious Jennifer, pretty sure social difficulties describes me pretty well. Emotional regulation issues, that definitely includes me, and the nature of intense interests. So like boys with autism tend to be super interested in like insects or trains or things like that. My intense special interests have always been animals. Like when I was a kid, I already knew almost all the dog breeds when I was a kid, and I knew all about horses and marine mammals in general, and whales and dolphins in particular. And then as an adult, I was super obsessed with Bollywood for about a decade, and now I've been obsessed with these Thai TV shows. And yeah, and with the intense interest, it's like I become obsessed with it, whatever the thing is. I'm always obsessed with at least one thing. Understanding that autism can manifest differently in women and seeking an accurate diagnosis may lead to better quality of life. So this is why I'm not like, oh no, I might be autistic. It's like, oh, this explains so much. Anyway. Blah, 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 blah. You can pause and read all this if you want. Women who do receive a diagnosis often find that it has a positive impact on their confidence and self-esteem. Any woman who has reached the point of wondering whether or not she has autism may find it hard to find definitive information, given the fact that autism has predominantly been viewed as a male condition. If she's experiencing many of these symptoms, however, it might point towards a diagnosis of autism. Blah, blah, blah. So here are 10 ways that key signs of autism in women. Social difficulties. I have always had social difficulties my whole entire life. Women with autism find it difficult to read and respond to social cues. That's part of the awkwardness that I've always felt when trying to socialize. And they often feel socially anxious. I was diagnosed with social anxiety at least 15 years ago, probably even before I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Ruminate on their social interactions, 100% yes. I'm always wondering what I did wrong, what I could do better, did I understand everything correctly, and may end up feeling left out and lonely, despite their best efforts to be sociable. Yeah, that's described a lot of my adult life. While autistic women may interact well in one-to-one situations, they often find it very hard to be in groups and may feel exhausted after too much social interaction. 100% yes for me. People are exhausting. One-on-one is okay. I could put all my effort on focusing on that one person. But the more voices there are, the more conversations to try to keep track of. Yeah, there are days after I try to socialize, I go home and I crash completely. Sensory sensitivity. People with autism experience the world in a different way than neurotypical people, and many women with autism experience intense sensory sensitivity. They may have a heightened sense of awareness when it comes to smells, light, sounds, and touch. Um, so, for me, one of my biggest sensory things is a lot of my food preferences are based on texture and always has been that way ever since I was a kid. For example, I like the taste of orange juice, especially if it's pulp free or at least low pulp, but I cannot stand the texture of an actual orange. I have not eaten an orange since I was probably 8 because the feel of it in my mouth, ugh, I can't do it. Or like celery. Lots of people are like, oh, put peanut butter on celery. You can't even taste the celery. It's just peanut butter. Yeah, the strings in celery, I can't handle it. Um, so that's one of my main things. And I'm a very touchy person as far as like, I love textures. I love soft textures, fluffy textures. I always, when I go to the store, well, not so much the last couple of years, but I always used to have to go touch all the soft stuff. But also at the same time, certain types of clothing just really bother me, and the tags and whatnot. And also, sound is a big one for me. My hearing has always tested at least as good as it should for my age. I do have auditory processing difficulties, but that's a whole other thing tied to autism. But like loud sounds always make me jump. Loud music, anything that's too loud, it feels like it's crawling up my back in the worst possible way. So, like my music is always very quiet. My old headphones that I had, um, the volume, at least for Spotify, would only go down as low as 6 on a scale up to 100, and a lot of times the 6 was too loud. So now with my new headphones, I can go down as low as 2. And usually if I'm listening to Spotify on my computer, the volume of 2 or 4 is perfect. I can't handle loud sounds. And when there's loud sounds in my environment, like people fighting or the long hair or whatever loud sounds, like it's not just annoying. It actually it like raises my blood pressure and makes me shake and just I can't handle it. Uh, Executive function. Many women with autism experience problems with executive function, a set of skills that involves working memory, flexible thinking, and self control. As far as working memory, yeah, I finally got a second screen for my laptop back in like October, one of the main reasons I did that is because I was constantly flipping between tabs, like between the research I was doing and the article I was writing. And I have a hard time even remembering 3 words just clicking from one tab to another. My working memory is terrible. And self control. Uh, Pardon me if you don't like strong language, but my fuck it voice has always been exceptionally loud. Um, I just, whatever, my impulse control, self control has always been terrible. People with executive function problems might find it hard to organize themselves, finish tasks, and maintain emotional control. Whether in the workplace or at home, it can be hard for women to complete tasks, such as completing tasks at work, which are deemed less interesting. Yeah, the less interesting a project is that I have to work on, the harder it is for me to finish it. Keeping a clean house, I 100% struggle with that. Maintaining healthy habits, yeah. You can see my weight. I definitely struggle with maintaining healthy habits. Or carrying out daily tasks such as showering and eating breakfast. Yeah, my showering, especially now that I almost never go out into the real world, it's not very good. Obsessive interests. Um, the blah blah blah. I already kind of talked about the special interests. Um, yeah, my obsessive interests have always been, you know, kind of unusual usually. But yeah, I definitely have the obsessive interests. Camouflaging. Autistic women tend to have a greater desire to be social than autistic men and spend a considerable amount of time and energy in masking or camouflaging their differences in order to pass as normal. Although neurotypicals of both genders and autistic men also camouflage, women with autism tend to do so to a far higher degree. Funny story about this. Long ago, when I was still trying to force myself to socialize on a sort of regular basis, I created a mental game for myself that I called, What is my face supposed to be doing right now? And that was partly because of my auditory processing difficulties. It's really hard for me to keep up with conversations, especially when there's multiple people involved. But also, like, I was trying to figure out what my face was supposed to be doing, like, that the other people would expect my face to be doing. Because I was kind of aware that my face doesn't do what it's supposed to compared to other people. So, yeah, I would say what is my face supposed to be doing right now would be a classic example of camouflaging. Sleep issues. My sleep issues kind of come or go. Difficulties with eye contact. I hate making eye contact. Usually, if you think I'm making eye contact with you, I'm usually looking at a place on your face kind of near your eyes, but not actually at your eyes. I also look at people's lips a lot because watching lips kind of helps me understand better. And I will also look at other things. When I socialize, my best friend tends to be my drink because I can always focus my attention on taking a sip of usually not alcoholic, but my water, my soda, whatever I'm drinking. Oh, that gives me an excuse to look at my cup rather than look at somebody's eyes. Emotional regulation issues and meltdowns. Women with autism often have problems with emotional regulation. Research has shown that there is a poor connection between the frontal cortex and the amygdala in people with autism. Put simply, the amygdala can be thought of as an emotion center in our brain, as it's part of our limbic system and our mammalian brain. The blah blah blah, that's not interesting. Because of the poor connection between the two areas, women with autism may find it hard to rationalize situations and stay in control. Many describe having meltdowns, extreme emotional reactions to situations that might result in losing their temper, crying, or going into shutdown mode. Sometimes I'll cry. I rarely lose my temper, but I definitely shut down a lot. Stimming. Stimming, short for self-stimulating behavior, refers to repetitive behaviors. The most obvious behaviors we associate with autism are rocking, hand flapping, repetition of words or phrases, and rocking or spinning. However, women with autism may display other stimming behaviors, such as skin picking, feet rubbing, pacing, or hair twirling. Yeah, back when I still had hair, I used to twirl my hair a lot. And now I'm constantly, well, I don't know about constantly, but I frequently, feel the short hair on top of my head. And skin picking. I do pick the skin on my face more. Now, I used to, back when I wore contacts, I was constantly, picking my eyelashes out. It's harder to reach them now, so I don't do that. I also pick at my eyebrows, and I have some beard hairs that grow from time to time. So I'm constantly feeling for those and grabbing for my tweezers and pulling them out. And if I have any sort of a zit or anything on my face, I'm constantly picking at that. So yeah, that jibes. And I'm also, usually you can't see it on camera, but I'm always or frequently playing with my fingers, rubbing my fingers against each other, rubbing my hands on my pants. I noticed when I went and reviewed my intro video, I was touching my face a lot. And back when I used to socialize, I would often wear a pendant necklace, and I would grab the pendant and rub it up and down on the necklace chain, which I knew was kind of fidgeting, but I would say that works well with stimming. And number 10, anxiety and depression. Two of the biggest things that I have struggled with in my life. I have bipolar disorder type 2, which is mostly depression with occasional episodes of mania. And I definitely also struggle with anxiety. Anxiety and depression are not universal symptoms of autism, but because life is difficult for many women with autism, it is common for them to experience mental health issues like anxiety, depression, or problems with addiction. I am also a compulsive gambler, I've been doing much better over the last 10 or 15 years, but for a while there, it was a real problem. There is also a far higher than average rate of suicidality in women with autism, which appears to be related to the degree of camouflaging they engage in. Though their autism goes undiagnosed, it is more likely that they will receive a formal diagnosis for anxiety, depression, or another mental health issue, like bipolar disorder. So, this this list of symptoms gives you a pretty good idea of why I believe, autism sounds like a very good fit for me, and it explains a whole lot of things in my life. So now I feel like this recording is already getting kind of long. So let me just do one of the most common diagnostic tests for autism is the RAD-S. Is that... Okay. Sorry, RADS-R. And so, it has 80 statements, and you have 4 choices for each statement. True now and when I was young, true now only, true only when I was younger than 16, and never true. But let's go look at the discussion section. Guess I should have clicked on the thing. Discussion. Quite a few of the statements are not actually characteristic of autism and are likely going to be experienced as demeaning, like I am never a compassionate type of person. A few questions are characteristic of alexithymia rather than autism. While alexithymia correlates strongly with autism, it should not be confused with autism itself. But then, blah, blah, blah. There are 17 normative questions, and the rest are that show that you likely have autism. There was something else. I swear. But it is still a very valid test. So no neurotypical who took the test scored above the autism threshold, and only 3% of the autistic group did not score over 65. So let's go back to... okay, the scoring threshold. Threshold score is above 65 or above. 65 plus, you are likely autistic because no neurotypical scored above 64 in the research. And if it's less than 65, you are likely not autistic. 97% chance of not being autistic. So I'm going to take this test, and I'm going to do my very, very best not to skew my answers in a way that would give me a high score because I think I want one. But yeah, I'm going to answer my questions as honestly as possible, and let's see where I score. So this is the RADS-R. I am a sympathetic person. I would think so. I often use words and phrases from movies and television in conversations. No, I don't think so. I am often surprised when others tell me I have been rude. Absolutely yes. I think this is why I have lost some relationships over the course of my life, because I said things that came across as rude, even though that was not my intention. So that is definitely true. Sometimes I talk too loudly or too softly, and I am not aware of it. That is 100% true. And I have a person in my life who has come up with a signal to very subtly let me know that I'm talking too loudly. And that's, that must be a pretty common issue if I need to be gently reminded to talk quieter. So that is 100% true. True now and when I was young. I often don't know how to act in social situations. That is definitely true. Now and when I was young. I can put myself in other people's shoes. I guess so. Maybe more now than when I was younger. I have a hard time figuring out what some phrases mean, like, you are the apple of my eye. That one I don't really struggle with. I only like to talk to people who share my special interests. Now, this is one of those strongly worded ones. It's like, well, I mean, I prefer talking to people who share a special interest we can talk about, but I don't only like to talk to people who share my special interests. So I guess that would be never true. I focus on details rather than the overall idea. I don't know. No, I don't know. I always notice how food feels in my mouth. This is more important to me than how it tastes. 100% yes. Most of my food preferences are based on the texture rather than, or more than, or at least as much as how it tastes. I miss my best friends or family when we are apart for a long time. I mean, kinda, but not really. I mean, I could go away to camp when I was a kid and not get homesick at all. And now it's like, yeah, if I go several months without seeing my family, I kind of miss them. But it's not like really intense for me. I guess never true is closest to my experience. Sometimes I offend others by saying what I am thinking, even if I don't mean to. Yes, I have often been told that I have unintentionally offended somebody, so that is definitely true now and when I was young. I only like to think and talk about a few things that interest me. Now, that's sort of an extreme answer, but let's say this. I am not interested in pop culture and just watching things for the sake of being able to talk to other people about them. Like, I have not seen the Harry Potter movies. I have not seen, like, I might have watched the first Harry Potter movie, but I have not watched any of the others. I think I watched the first half hour of Lord of the Rings and decided that was not interesting. I have not seen or read the 50 Shades books. So if I interpret this like, um, I don't want to talk about things that don't interest me, then that's pretty much true. I'd rather go out to eat in a restaurant by myself than with someone I know. Uh, I it's more like I don't care whether I'm alone or with someone I know. I Sure, true now and when I was young. I cannot imagine what it would be like to be someone else. I I guess I can. Maybe more now than when I was a kid. I have been told that I am clumsy or uncoordinated. I don't have to be told. I know that I am clumsy and uncoordinated. I am constantly bumping into things, tripping over things. I'm always like bashing into countertops. Back when I was a dog groomer, I would constantly, if there was a kennel door open, I would smash my arms on the kennel doors. I frequently have bruises that I have no idea where they came from. So that is definitely true. Others consider me odd or different. 100% yes. I have always felt like people see me as odd and different. I understand when friends need to be comforted. I mean, I guess so. Did I when I was a kid? Part of the problem with these is I don't remember very much of my childhood. I just have a few memories here and there. But let's say I guess so. I am very sensitive to the way my clothes feel when I touch them. How they feel is more important to me than how they look. Yes, I have always been quite sensitive to the way my clothes feel. I always sort of like put up with clothes that I thought I was supposed to wear um, throughout most of my life, but now I wear uh, sweatpants, basketball shorts, t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts. I don't wear anything that I don't like. I don't wear anything scratchy. I don't wear tight jeans. Um, so this is, I mean, it's definitely true now. I think it was true when I was young too. Because I remember one time I got this shirt that my grandmother had sent me, and I really wanted to like it. I liked the way it looked, but it was really scratchy and uncomfortable. I like to copy the way certain people speak and act. It helps me appear more normal. Um, Not consciously. It can be very intimidating for me to talk to more than one person at the same time. Yes, definitely. And this is partly related to my auditory processing troubles. So, auditory processing is like before I knew it was an actual thing, I used to think that I had a type of auditory dyslexia. It's like words get scrambled going inside my brain, or it takes me a couple seconds longer to interpret them. And that the more people are in a conversation, the worse that gets. Um, Plus, it's just harder to keep up with the conversation and know when to talk or try to talk. So, yes, this is definitely true. I have to act normal to please other people and make them like me. Um, I don't do this as much now that I'm more comfortable with myself, but up until a couple of years ago, definitely yes. Meeting new people is usually easy for me. Definitely not. Meeting new people is almost never easy for me. I get highly confused when someone interrupts me when I am talking about something I am very interested in. It doesn't matter whether I'm talking about something I'm very interested in or not. If somebody interrupts me, I almost always lose my train of thought. Um, so yes, I get highly confused when someone interrupts me. It is difficult for me to understand how other people are feeling when we are talking. It depends. Um, I feel like if I just pay attention to their words, like it's a lot easier if I'm texting with somebody because I can figure it out by their words. But as far as like if they're not saying anything and I just have to go based on their facial expression or their body language, yeah, I would say I struggle with it. I like having a conversation with several people. No, not so much. I take things too literally, so I often miss what people are trying to say. I feel like I struggled with this more when I was a kid and less so now. So, take things too literally. We'll say that. It is very difficult for me to understand when someone is embarrassed or jealous. Um, no, I guess not. Some ordinary textures that do not bother others feel very offensive when they touch my skin. Yes, this is definitely true. I get extremely upset when the way I like to do things is suddenly changed. Um, yes. Especially if it's changed by somebody else. Like, I can change my routine somewhat easily, but if somebody else wants things done differently, it's hard for me to do. I have never wanted or needed to have what other people call an intimate relationship. I mean, I would like to, but at this point in my life, I don't feel like I need to. But I can't really agree with that. I do want an intimate relationship, but I don't feel like I need one. It is difficult for me to start and stop a conversation. I need to keep going until I am finished. I definitely struggle starting and stopping conversations. Yes. I speak with a normal rhythm. I I have no idea. I would have to have somebody else tell me. I I I guess so. If any of you are still listening and you know whether or not I do, please let me know because I have no idea. The same sound, color, or texture can suddenly change from very sensitive to very dull. Sound, color, or texture. No, I guess not. The phrase, I've got you under my skin, makes me uncomfortable. No. Sometimes the sound of a word or a high pitched noise can be painful to my ears. 100% yes. Like, I think most people are bothered by the sound of a crying baby, but one of the many reasons that I don't want kids is because I very much worry that I would shake the baby. Like I cannot handle the stop it. I don't know what my phone's doing. Yes, it's actually painful. I am an understanding type of person. I think so. Maybe more so now than when I was a kid. I do not connect with characters in movies and cannot feel what they feel. I guess that's not true. I cannot tell when someone is flirting with me. Now, as far as I can recall, I don't think anybody in my entire life has ever flirted with me. But I don't know whether that means that nobody has ever flirted with me or if I've just never noticed. So I'm going to say that's probably true that I can't tell. I can see in my mind in exact detail things that I am interested in. I don't know. I guess so. I keep lists of things that interest me, even when they have no practical use, like sports statistics, train schedules, calendar dates, historical facts, and dates. I don't know about lists, but like lately I've been taking screenshots of stuff that I find interesting, um, or taking pictures of it. I don't know if I kept lists when I was a kid. We'll say it's true only now. When I feel overwhelmed by my senses, I have to isolate myself to shut them down. 100% true. I like to talk things over with my friends. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I cannot tell if someone is interested or bored with what I am saying. I'm kind of getting better at this, but I know it's something I've struggled with a lot in my life. So I'm going to say it's still true, even though it's less true the last couple of years, but for most of my life, it's definitely, and probably still. Just people don't tell me if they're actually bored. It can be very hard to read someone's face, hand, and body movements when they are talking. Yes, I definitely feel like that's true. The same thing, like clothes or temperatures, can feel very different to me at different times. I would have to say yes. Like in my apartment, I'm constantly like now that it's fall. I don't know why I'm actually doing this since you can't see me, but um, I'm wearing long sleeves and I'm constantly pulling the sleeves down, pulling them up, turning my fan on, turning my fan off. Um, and the temperature in my apartment is not fluctuating that much. It's just, and no, it's not hot flashes. It's just, yeah, the same thing can feel very different at different times. I feel very comfortable with dating or being in social situations with others. 100% now. I try to be as helpful as I can when other people tell me their personal problems. Yes. I have been told that I have an unusual voice. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to say never true, I guess. Again, if you're listening and you can tell me, I would love to know if my voice is unusual. Sometimes a thought or a subject gets stuck in my mind, and I have to talk about it even if no one is interested. Yes, I've gotten a little bit better about holding myself back when I know nobody's interested, but sometimes I'll even just text somebody out of the blue, something random, and they'll be like, "Why are you texting me this? I don't care." It's like, I know, but I have to share it with somebody. Or that's often what I use social media for these days. Is just I have to share this thing with somebody. The whole world, nobody, I don't know, I have to share it. I do certain things with my hands over and over again, like flapping, twirling sticks or strings, waving things by my eyes. None of these examples, but yes, I'm constantly doing things with my hands. I have never been interested in what most of the people I know consider interesting. Yes, that is definitely true. My interests have pretty much always been different from everybody else in my life. Except now, thank goodness for the internet, now I can connect with people online who share my interests. But in my regular life, yeah, no. I am considered a compassionate type of person. I mean, I consider myself compassionate. I don't know what the people around me think. I get along with other people by following a set of specific rules that help me look normal. I guess I do that more now than when I was a kid. Did I do that when I was a kid? I don't know. It is very difficult for me to work and function in groups. Definitely true. Jules, hungry later. Um, yes, it's very hard for me to work in groups. When I am talking to someone, it is hard to change the subject. If the other person does so, I can get very upset and confused. No, I wouldn't say I get upset and confused. Sometimes I have to cover my ears to block out painful noises. I don't usually actually cover my ears because of the whole masking thing. I'm too self-conscious about what other people think. But I would like to cover my ears. And now I have headphones that can help me. I can chat and make small talk with people. I hate small talk. Hate it, hate it, hate it. So this is never true. Sometimes things that should feel painful are not. I guess that's not true. I don't know. When talking to someone, I have a hard time telling when it is my turn to talk or listen. Not so much now, but I think I struggled with this when I was younger. I am considered a loner by those who know me best. Probably. I usually speak in a normal tone. I still don't freaking know. Later, Jules, I'm busy. As far as I know, I do. Hungry later. I'm busy. I like things to be exactly the same day after day, and even small changes in my routines. Oh my goodness. I later. Um, sorry, my dog is going crazy. I like things to be exactly the same day after day, and even small changes in my routines upset me. This one's hard to say, but like I do have certain routines. Like, all right, I keep all my medications on a desk to the side of my main area, and I have to move the bottles from that location over by me. Like I have to move the bottles in the same order every day, and I have to take all my pills in the exact same order every day. And there's no logical reason for that. It just has to be that way. So, I mean, I guess it's true. I don't know. How to make friends and socialize. Scratches, yes, scratches. Um, how to make friends and socialize is a mystery to me. I'm going to say that's true. It calms me to spin around or to rock in a chair when I'm feeling stressed. Spin around or rock in a chair? No. The phrase, he wears his heart on his sleeve, does not make sense to me. That's not true. If if I am in a place where there are many smells, textures to feel, noises, or bright lights, I feel anxious or frightened. Yes, busy places bother me. I can tell when someone says one thing but means something else. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I guess I'm gonna go with no. I like to be by myself as much as I can. That's pretty much true. I keep my thoughts stacked in my memory like they are on filing cards, and I pick out the ones I need by looking through the stack and finding the right one. No. The same sound sometimes seems very loud or very soft, even though I know it has not changed. I guess not. I enjoy spending time eating and talking with my family and friends. I mean, up to a point, yes. I can't tolerate things I dislike, like smells, textures, sounds, or colors. Yes, especially smells and textures. That is definitely true. I don't like to be hugged or held. With very few exceptions, yes, this is very true. Especially if I don't know you that well, please don't hug me. It makes me uncomfortable. When I go somewhere, I have to follow a familiar routine, or I can get very confused and upset. Yes. I mean, less so now that there's GPS, but yeah. It is difficult to figure out what other people expect of me. That is often true. I like to have close friends. I mean, I like to. I definitely struggle with it. We'll say it's true. People tell me that I give too much detail. Um, Probably, especially when I go off on something that I'm interested in. I am often told that I ask embarrassing questions. Yes, I have had this experience frequently as an adult. And I tend to point out other people's mistakes. Less so now than I used to, but that's definitely been true for most of my life. Okay, let's see what my score is. So, my score is 150, and going back over here, if it's more than 65, you are likely autistic. So, yeah, I would say it's quite likely. I'll look at all those later. But yeah, score of 150. I'm going to say I pretty much definitely have autism. Anyway, I don't think anybody is even still listening at this point because this is a crazy long video. But if you have, um, and you want to see more or learn more or whatever, let me know in the comments, and I can do more of these videos if anybody's interested or whatever. But anyway, if you're still listening, thanks for watching this very long video, and take care of yourselves and others, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.